Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I just wanted to do a kind of an impromptu review of this product because I tried it for the first time today and I was so excited about it, and I think that this is going to help some other folks in the Frugal Crafter family who love to keep their very old and well-loved die cutting machines probably much longer than the manufacturers ever intended. So this is my my original Big Shot machine. I got this when my twins were babies and they are now they're now 14 years old. So this machine has been around the block and back, and I use it almost daily. So it's gotten a lot of use. And what happens with these machines after years and years of heavy use is that I believe the rollers get a little loose. So sometimes when you're cutting stuff, it just doesn't give you the pressure that it used to. And also back when this machine came out, there weren't all these beautiful, thin, intricate dies available. So they didn't really need to have to be, you know, tight enough for the pressure to deal with those. So you probably remember that a few years ago, I went to you probably don't remember this, probably I'm the only one that remembers this. I went to a stamping convention and I really wanted to get a doily die because, you know, I can't be spending a penny for a doily. I'm going to spend $20 on a die so I can cut maybe 5 doilies in my life. But anyways, I wanted a doily. I researched, I found the most beautiful doily die in the world. This one's by Cherry Lynn Designs. I still believe it's the most beautiful doily die in the world. And I purchased it. Got it home, tried cutting it, and I was so frustrated because it took me so long to get a decent impression. I would have to crank that through the machine probably 20 times with shims, which is little pieces of paper pressed here and there to help it get enough pressure to cut. It was so aggravating and so frustrating that I just put it in my box and I only brought it out for special occasions. So if you ever received a card from me with this doily die on it, let me tell you something, you must be one of my favorite people in the world because it just, the effort to use this die was so frustrating. It was so frustrating that I did a video on like how I could get it to work in case other people couldn't get this die to work. And actually the owner of Cherry Lynn was so kind to send me a thin metal plate to kind of help me with my issues. So this is many years later, and I just found at the please excuse my furnace, at the craft store this thing called a chrome precision base plate, and it's by Sizzix, which is the parent company of Ellison, who made the Big Shot. And I thought, you know what, I don't have many intricate dies, but I love this one so much that if I could find something that would allow me to use it more often, it would be worth it. So these cost about $17. They were on sale for 40% off, so I decided to take a chance. And today I grabbed it to have a go at it. And these are the die. I just cut these out this morning, really easy. So I'm going to show you how it works and give you some tips for if you're working with these dies so you don't pull your hair out. So first thing I'm going to tell you is that I also bought some new plates because my cutting plates were getting kind of warped and scratched and I wasn't able to flatten them out very well again. But you can see they're very, very well used. I think the new plates are a little bit thinner. Does that look a little thinner to you? I think they're a little bit thinner because I have to say I think I cut it a little bit easier with this old plate, so that's what I'm going to use. But I cut the second one with the new plate just to make sure that they both were working. I think it's very minimal, but I do think the older plates are a little bit thicker. So what you want to do is take your die and take a piece of cardstock, and you want the cardstock to be just slightly bigger than the die, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I'm just going to go and snip around. So just do that if you're, you know, if you're cutting your thing, just get it roughly the right size. And then I'm going to take a piece of washi tape, a couple pieces actually, and tape it down to my paper. Now I am using the Precision Chrome base plate over a magnetic platform, which I also recommend. That's something else I got a few years ago because it just keeps it so you don't have to use that many, you don't have to use washi tape usually, but the magnet will hold this in place, but it doesn't like grab the dies on top of it, so you need the tape on top of that. So then what you're going to do is put your die down so the cutting blade is on the chrome. Okay, so you're cutting against that. I can't believe there's no scratches on that yet. That's kind of cool actually, because I've used it a few times. This is the first time I've used it with this die. Well, today is anyway. And then you're going to put your cutting plate on top, and make sure you put this towards the center of the platform, of the sandwich here, so you can roll it back and forth. So that cutting plate takes the place of one of your cutting pads. Okay, there really isn't any instructions. There's not much for instructions on the packaging for this, so I figured this video might help somebody. So I'm going to crank it through until I feel that little drop where I know I'm off the die and I'm just on top of the cutting pads. Then I'm going to crank it back through until I hear that again. Okay, you can go again, but I didn't need to, so I'm going to crank that out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and look. Okay, it has cut not everything, but better than my things used to cut. So now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same thing until it looks like that center is cut out really well. Crank it back through. I'm telling you, if I only have to do this 6 times, that is so much better than the 20 I used to have to do. Okay, now I'm looking, oh, it's pretty good. I just got a little bit that doesn't look like it's cut through completely, so I'm going to try to remember where I had it before. Like I mentioned, because I have an older machine, the pressure is not even in the rollers. If I'm cutting something like a Nestability, like a Spellbinders die, let me show you what I mean. What I typically cut are dies like this. They're just outlines. You don't need that much pressure for that. But when you got something with so many little intricate bits and bobs, that's where you need that pressure. There I go. Oops, I gotta go back through. And because I taped that in place, I don't have to worry about my dies slipping. And that's another reason why you wouldn't want to just rely on the magnets even if you weren't using this. Okay, am I gonna need to go the final go? I'm not sure. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to use this foam mat and brush, which is something else I recommend if you like to use intricate dies, so you don't have to spend all day poking out those things. And I'm going to go over the back of it with a foam brush. So these little pickies here, they feel kind of like toothbrushes. Toothbrush bristles are going to poke through the holes and release some of those. So I'll be able to tell if that cut through pretty well if any pieces fall out in the middle. It looks like it's all right, actually, because a bunch of pieces are coming out in the middle, so I think that did it. I think just the 3 times through, or 6 passes, I think that's going to do the trick. Alright, so let me just dump that in my trash. Also, the nice thing about this mat is that it keeps all those little confetti pieces from going all over. So I'm just going to roll over the back. So this set here, the Sizzix brush and pad here, I think that sells for under $10. So, you know, if you get it at a big box store, use a coupon. I'll try to link these things up so that you can find them if you don't have any local stores. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to flip it over and roll over the top, because I like to get as much of this done easily as possible. And this might seem like a lot of work to somebody, but what I used to have to do, man, this is nothing. This is a walk in the park compared to what I used to have to do to use this die. So, oh, they're pretty good. So for any little remaining guys that are in there, I'm going to use my needle tool to poke those out. Where did that needle tool go? Right here. And this is also how I will release it from the backing. So to release it, you just go through these little pokey holes, and that's going to press the paper out so that you can lift it. Now, I've heard a lot of people say the owner of Cherry Lynn recommends using like a plastic bag to cut between the paper and the die. I did not find that to work well for me, and it could be the machine that I have. I would occasionally use wax paper, but not every time because I don't want too much buildup. But I found if I used wax paper once, like maybe every 20 times, it would give me enough of a release so that the paper would come out. But I haven't done that in a long time, so I'm not even sure, you know, when the last time this thing was used with wax paper. It's been quite a while. Because then I heard people say, don't use wax paper because it can build up on your dies, but I think if you use it once in a while, you're fine. But there we go, look at that. Whoops, we got a few more little things in there. But before, oh my gosh, I would have to fold up a piece of paper. I'd have to fold up a piece of paper, and I'd have to put it, okay, what didn't cut? Okay, well, I got to put a piece of paper here and roll it through. Okay, what didn't cut? Oh, I got to put a piece of paper over here and roll it through. And it was such an ordeal that I just never wanted to use that die. It was frustrating, and it was doubly frustrating because it's a beautiful die that I wanted to use a lot. But look at that. So it used to take me about 20 passes, lots of aggravation, lots of poking with this tool, and with a chrome precision base plate and this little wheelie thing with the foam. It's slick. It's slick and quick. And even though this video is 9 minutes long, you're probably thinking, that's not slick or quick, Lindsay. It is so much better than it was for me. So if you have an older machine, this says it's compatible with the Big Shot, the Big Kick, the Vagabond, and the Big Shot Pro, not the Big Shot Plus, which is their wider one. If you have one of those machines and you're having issues, give it a try. If you have a different type of machine, I guess it's buyer beware. I have no idea if it's going to work with other machines because I don't have anything else to test it on, but I am very happy that I purchased this, and if you were considering it, gives you a little more information to go by anyway. And like I said, I did try with the new plates. It seemed to, maybe they're not thinner. I don't know, they just seemed a teeny bit thinner to me. Maybe they're not. Maybe I'm just, you know, losing my mind. But it did work with that one. I felt like instead of the 3 passes through, I think I had to do 4 passes through. So my 3 passes through is actually 6, so the 4 passes through would have been 8, but it still worked. And look at that. I'm surprised there's like no cuts on this. I don't know how that works or that happens, but there's like no cuts on there. And actually, you know what? I said there was no instruction, but I betcha. Yeah, the instructions are on the plate itself, so that's great. So you don't have to worry about throwing. Well, look at that. They show a doily. They know what it's for. They know where it's at. Yeah, that's what those are for. So you certainly do not need this if all you're cutting are like very outliney dies, like your Spellbinder Nestabilities and things like that. You certainly do not need those for that type of die, but any sort of lacy doily one, I would definitely give it a shot if you are frustrated and you can't seem to get a good impression from the machine that you have, especially if you have an old beloved machine, because you know what? Buying a $17 plate is a heck of a lot better than buying a $100 die cutting machine, I think. And hey, if it gets you a little more use out of your trusted old favorite crafting tool, then I think that is a win. So, and also this is super helpful. I believe, oh, I know, Sizzix also, shoot, you know, I don't know, this was Stampin' Up. That's who I got this from, I think. I think this was Stampin' Up. By Sizzix. Sizzix makes the Stampin' Up stuff, I believe. I don't want to misquote or misrepresent. I think this was Stampin' Up, but Sizzix also makes the same exact thing. You can get in a craft store. Spellbinders also has a tool, and in its handle, I believe it's got like a pokey thing and an embossing thing. But I think you have to buy them out separately. But I'll try to link up all that stuff below so you can look at the options. If you have the other tool by Spellbinders, you don't need this one right here because it's the same thing. But definitely like this chrome precision plate. It worked a lot better than the metal shim that I had before that was meant for die cutting from Cherry Lynn, which worked better than not having it, don't get me wrong, but this is a game changer for these detailed dies that I always, you know, pass by because I've never been able to get a really good impression. Now I might consider getting another, because they're so pretty. I might consider getting something else like this, maybe a photo corner or something that's lovely that I would have just shied away from because I didn't want to deal with the aggravation. But so it may not be a game changer for anybody else, but for me, it certainly was worth the money, and hopefully this review can help someone else out there too. So give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll help you if I can. And until next time, happy crafting!